Gentlemen, here we go. We are doing a series. Eileen, the Mexican Bruja, myself. You see her name down below. She's actually doing the family thing today, so I'm carrying it off. Get some water, and I want to give y'all a little indication on what's happening today. So today we are covering the signs. All signs will be covered, Aries to Pisces, with a forecast on 5 different unique ways to look at your astrology chart and create wealth. Now, understand that the wealth will be pretty much broken down within this as you look at your timestamp as for what wealth might mean for that person, because wealth is very much not just financial gains and money in your bank account. That's not wealth. Okay. Wealth of love, it matters. A wealth of compassion, it matters. A wealth of giving, a wealth of money, a wealth of financial prosperity, it matters. Okay. A wealth of physical health and well-being, right? So understand when I say wealth, wealth is not as simple as money, but money counts in that category. So I'm going to give a forecast for Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and what we're going to do is give you the 5 different unique ways to look at it, which is your Mercury sign, your Mars sign, your Sun sign, as well as your 3rd house and the 7th house. Okay. Now there are plenty of ways that you can look at how to create wealth in your chart. Right. I'm going to give a bonus, which I didn't write in the caption, and it's actually going to be considered Uranus. Okay, so Uranus is one of the best ways you can look at how to create wealth in your chart, and mostly it's about being different and unique. So the main one we're going to get the forecast from, because obviously I'm not going to be able to give it from all of this. When you come into the 8-week sacred reality, today is the last day to get your early bird in. When you come to sacred reality, we're going to do this for your own individual chart. Okay, and now we can look at the individual Mercury, individual Mars, individual 3rd house, individual 7th house, and more. So here we go. We have step number 1, the sun sign. Okay, so I'm gonna give a little brief insight to the 5 different ones, and then we're gonna get into your forecast. The sun sign. So the sun sign creates your wealth because it's one of the major reasons why you actually reincarnated. It's your karma is also your punishment. As you fulfill your karma, as you fulfill your punishment, wealth lands in your pocket. Why? Because the sun sign is the kingdom. So when you feed the kingdom through the aspects to the sun, so you have a sun square Jupiter, Jupiter in a sense has to serve the sun, which is very hard because it has these moral blind spots. Okay. But that's a squaring aspect specifically, right? When the sun is trining the Mercury placement, okay, boom. That trine will be more harmonious of the Mercury handling money, ideas, and shifting it back and forth, serving the sun, especially if your Mercury is combust. Okay, so if your Mercury combust, it has no choice, because without it being combust, Mercury actually has more freedom to serve the sun, serve the kingdom, but also its own desires, its own whims. So that's one aspect. So any aspect coming to the sun, this is stuff where when you look at the sacred reality, we're going through this for everybody's chart to help you create wealth, help you create financial wealth, a wealth of love, a wealth of creativity, a wealth of understand. I just want y'all to know this: wealth is not as simple as money, but it will give you success. It will give you business success as an entrepreneur. That is a guarantee. Okay. So before I go any further, I want to go ahead and make this little boom boom, because today is the last day for the early bird, and then we'll get deep into this whole wealth making. So enjoy this. Yeah. It gets me excited every time. So let's get into the top 5 wealth tips. All right. So I kind of give a little insight on number one, but number one is the most important one, and it's what we're going to give the forecast from for all 12 zodiac signs: Aries, Taurus, Gemini. All right. So number one is the sun. Any aspect coming to the sun. When you have a Sun Uranus aspect, whether it's a trine, whether it's a sextile, whether it's a opposition or square, which I actually enjoy oppositions and squares more because it puts the thing in your face, right? These are the aspects, whatever aspect, because remember, all aspects that happen to the sun are serving the kingdom. This is the only thing you need to remember. The kingdom receives all of the wealth. When you think old times, what happened? You had a kingdom, you had a clan, you had a land, and the nobles of the land had to pay the kingdom to maintain their property and their wealth within the region or the province. So this still translates into astrology today for your own personal wealth. Okay, so this is one of the major things. So look at your chart and see, boom, what's coming to my sun? Okay, I got a Sun Saturn aspect. Okay, bam. So what's going on with my wealth with this? Oh wow, this is telling me that there's a low self-esteem going on because all Sun Saturn aspects create a low self-esteem, but it also creates that low self-esteem also creates a motor, right? It also creates something where that person was never satisfied. No matter how much praise they get, they will keep working, which again creates the wealth and it gives to the kingdom. It serves the kingdom, right? So number one, your sun sign is one of the major, most important indicators because this is what is royal and regal about you. That automatically give you wealth. That's number one. Number two, okay, 640. Let me write that down. 640. Okay, so number two on this, Mercury. Your Mercury sign will help you understand how to communicate as well as make shifts, discounts, and create sales. Why? I spoke a little bit about this in my last Qigong post on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere, right? You see the Qigong post. What's Qigong? Qigong is using the hands to move and create energy and unblock Qi in the body, right? What's Qi? Your life force. What's your life force? Your sun sign. So it goes right back to the sun. But Mercury is the stuff that allows us to use air, and air is used to push blood through, transport nutrients. So what's nutrients in this? When you look at your chart, nutrients depends on your zodiac sign, right? It depends on your house. But whatever that house, whatever that zodiac, that's the nutrient you need to circulate air through the lungs, right? Because if you can't breathe, you're suffocating. What's happening? You can't feed the kingdom, right? So understand that the sun, Mercury, excuse me, is always in range of the sun within a couple zodiac signs. So again, if this is combust, which a lot of charts are, because it's very common, then this usually automatically will mean that your wealth will be created through a spiritual mean, mostly because your logic is going to be tampered with. Now, there's so many other things that might reverse engineer that and not tamper with the logic, but if the logic is tampered, usually your wealth from Mercury placements will come from a spiritual means. Now, if it's not combust, then your wealth might come from actually just being logical, creating a plan, thinking about how to deduct things, or what is it called, deductive reasoning, and it'll happen that way. But if it's combust, it'll happen through a spiritual means. So Mercury is one of the ones that helps you create wealth. All right, you can shift and learn how to create sales through your Mercury. Your Mercury is your voice, is your body language. So when your body language is like slouching, right, and it's like this, like you don't want to buy anything from that person, and you don't even feel like selling. But when your chest is nice, broad, and you speak with your hands, or you're doing mudras at the same time. This is one of the mudras that locks things in. This is a hand mudra, right? It's a power mudra. This is one of the mudras. Like if we look at it, like you'll be learning these things in our membership. You'll be learning these things in the 8-week reality, right? This mudra will lock your mindset, Mercury, on what you're looking to sell. So if I'm looking to sell, let's just say this 8-week reality, sacred reality, and I meditate on it and I lock this mudra in, or if I hold this mudra while my hands are down here, you don't even have to see my hands, but it gives me a natural sense of appeal through body language. Body language is locked in whatever the mindset, manifestation, the affirmation that I put in my mind, right? So that's Mercury. Depending on what your Mercury is, like blah, 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 right? House and sign, and asset, it'll give you the rest. We're doing a forecast of the sun because the sun is going to be the one that trumps them all. So that's number 3. Now next we have 950, bang. Okay, so next we have Mars. Why? Mars is one of the most important indicators for how to actually put the wealth into action, how to put the business that you're looking to sell, that you're looking to promote into action, because Mars is the way we assert ourselves. Now, it will also help you understand where and how you might be too aggressive. Now, when I say aggressive, it means that your actions in your cells might be motivated by an insecurity, or might be motivated by anger, right? And if it's motivated by these two things, your Mars sign will help you understand. If you have a fire Mars, you're more likely to be motivated by insecurity or by anger or rage. But if you have a water sign, you're less likely to be motivated by rage, and more likely with this Mars and a water sign to be motivated by the emotion and the feelings. And so you got to check on the downside. It could be you being motivated by depression, being motivated by grief, right? How many times have you broke up with a girl or a guy broke your heart, and then you just start making a lot of money, right? But you're making that money through grief. You're making that money through sadness. So understand that's the energetic charge going behind it. That's not necessarily bad. Not at all. But it is going to help you understand through your Mars placement, depending on what sign it's in, as an example, of how to push that stuff forward, right? So Mars is about the action, the passion. When you look at your Mars sign, you'll be able to understand what is your passion. And then you kind of got to look at your Mars, and then let's say the Mars is in Aquarius, for example. And then now from there, I need to go look at my Saturn placement, right? And my Uranus. And Uranus is one of the bonuses that we're going to speak about. It's not in the chat, but it's one of the bonus we're going to speak about. So from there, that's one of the ways you start looking at wealth. It's like, okay, boom. Why? Because Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius for this example, right? So now this is already like a Mars Saturnian aspect. So it's like, okay, bam, I got, general on the battlefield energy, and the person who actually gives me the structure with that passion, with that action that I can take with my Mars sign. So this is a great way to use your Mars to go ahead and move forward, right? And so this is one of the ones that are surprisingly very necessary and highly useful, because no matter how much thinking you do with your Mercury sign, no matter what kind of rules your kingdom says, aka the sun sign, your kingdom says, go do this, go do this, do this. Without your Mars, you don't take action. And understand that Mars is one of the ones that automatically is here to serve the king, or the sun sign. So when the sun sign says do this, your Mars generally has to listen to the sun sign, right? If you don't, it's like having a general that doesn't listen to the king or the queen. What would happen to that person on the battlefield? What would happen to that person when they return to the court? They'll probably be either disbanded, get their head chopped off, X, Y, and Z, right? So Mars is one of the most important placements when it looks at obtaining and accumulating wealth and affluency, because you have to assert yourself, and it helps to understand where you're asserting yourself from: joy, abundant mindset, passion, and the actions you take, or you motivated from grief, pain, and sadness from that breakup, or from you losing somebody dear to you somehow, some way, even through death, right? Because Mars, death, Scorpio. So Mars is one of the major indicators. Now let's move into the 7th house. I'm at 1338. Okay, so 7th house. One of the reasons why this one's super duper important is because 7th house is the marketplace, right? So what I mean when I say marketplace, I mean like when you look at what sign is in the 7th house. Okay, I'm right now I'm getting Pisces in the 7th house. Okay, so it's Pisces in the 7th house. The marketplace for me are people that are suffering. Period. The marketplace for me are people that are operating in the dream space and want to know about spiritual symbols, that want to have an understanding of God, that want to, and not just an understanding, but like a surrender and acceptance of God. Those are the people in your marketplace. So this might be literally somebody, you could be a preacher in a church, and your marketplace may be literally running a nonprofit, which are things like Piscean type energies. So the marketplace are the churches. The marketplaces are getting grants for your nonprofit. The marketplace can be you as an angel investor, or you shopping for angel investors to support your nonprofit industry that's here to support people. That's just an example for Pisces in the 7th house, right? If I try to give one more example on a different level, give me a zodiac sign. Gemini in the 7th house. Okay, so Gemini in the 7th house, your marketplace is going to be in the media outlets. It's going to be with broadcasting. It's going to be in the learning industry. So you're going to likely find people who want to be students, right? That's your marketplace. Now, the question is, students of what? Now, Gemini, it could be a student of writing, a student in publishing. You want some, you're a coach. This could be you as a coach who is teaching people how to publish books, right? How to write a book and successfully become part of New York Times. This could be you teaching people how to be journalists. Let's say a film documentary journalist, right? Because now you have 7th house, the marketplace, the opposite side of 7th house is the 1st house. So you yourself spending and taking adventures abroad, because that's now Sagittarius in the 1st house, taking adventures abroad, right? And gathering and digesting and finding meaning behind the suffering that people are going through. And then coming back and learning how to turn that into a business, right? So these are just examples, but the 7th house is literally the marketplace. So you really want to look at, where's my 7th house and how can my 7th house support my success? Okay, now I have 1612. Okay, so 3rd house. 3rd house, one of the reasons why 3rd house is so very important, because why? Everything I'm doing to you right now, I'm talking. Literally I'm talking, right? So you have to speak. And if you don't speak, you have to write emails. And if you don't write emails and you don't want to show up, let's say on media outlets, you're not running a newsletter, which, by the way, I must say we have. So definitely check out our newsletter, download the free guide, and you'll get on the newsletter for astrology forecasts, and they're going to be written in X, Y, and Z. Okay, so there are a lot of ways. 3rd house is how you sell yourself, right? When you're socializing and talking amongst peers. Even when you're not talking, 3rd house will show. If you have a 3rd house in Scorpio, for example, you might be somebody that doesn't talk, who actually withdraws and hold their words. So Scorpio in the 3rd house might actually be the one silent in the corner. But with that silence, you have this feeling and aura, because 3rd house is your environment, where you've controlled the environment and you've created and piqued the interest of the people that you're around, and they want to know, what is this person thinking? And so that within itself, Scorpio has that attraction ability to start attracting people. And then again, if you know what you're looking to sell and X, Y, Z, then you can bring it to the next level, next step, right? But from there, 3rd house is also the way in which you manipulate. It's the way in which you express and where you're being asked to be courageous. 3rd house is where you're being asked to be courageous. 3rd house is your courage. Okay, so if I use Aries in a 3rd house, for example, you have to be courageous with your passion. You have to be courageous with your instinct. So you get an instinct. It's about not thinking. It's about speaking flat out with courage. Now understand, the courage in this instance is not coming from Aries. The courage coming from the 3rd house. And the way Aries expresses his courage is instantaneously, right away, in the moment. No thinking. That's just Aries. It comes very different if you have Virgo in a 3rd house, who is like, look, I need to analyze my thoughts. I need to basically slow it down and start getting rid of the parts of my ego that are not humble. So 3rd house is one of the ways that you can really start to manipulate the marketplace. Okay. And where you're going to find your courage. So courage, when you're looking to create wealth, you have to be courageous in some area of your life. If you're looking to put money in your bank account, you have to be courageous in some area of your life. If you're looking to create a wealth of love, you have to be courageous in your love endeavors, right? Wherever your 3rd house is, when it comes to creating wealth, this is going to show you how to manipulate yourself or the marketplace when you combine the 3rd and 7th house. Why? Because 3rd, 7th house, what do? They trine each other. You see what I'm saying? So we just went and talked about the 7th house being the marketplace. Now 3rd house is an air house, 7th house is an air house. They trine each other. And what's air? Speaking. And again, if you're not speaking, you're writing. If you're not writing, you're creating films, right? Where the film is telling the story. Your 3rd house is the storyteller. Now your 7th house is the people you're telling the story to, the market you're telling the story to. So I don't have to speak on the internet like this. Oh, I'm not a speaker. I don't want to create a YouTube. I'm shy. I'm scared. Okay, that's fine. You can have social anxiety. That's more than fine. But you know what? You can create a movie. So now maybe your name is just somewhere in the credits. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So if you're in the chat, let me know. Do you want to hear the bonus now, or do you want me to get right into the zodiac, the forecast? I'm going to give all signs: Aries, Gemini, Pisces, Capricorn, everybody. Okay. 2022. I'll give it after. Okay. So step one, when we move back, all right, we're going to forecast 2022. 2022. Let me write that. No, 2039. Excuse me. Okay, 2039. We got Aries. So Aries, what's going on, baby? So how you create wealth? Okay, based off your sun sign. Now understand, I really need to know the aspects to your sun. That's going to matter. We already spoke about that. So go back earlier in the video and you'll understand, look at the timestamps and you'll see, boom, what some examples of the aspects look like. Okay. Or you can go check our 10th house video that I did with Eileen, the Mexican Bruja. Okay. So it's on my channel. Look for 10th house Pernell Bobby, 10th house for MC for your career success. Okay. So now, Aries, this is what it looks like for you. It's the 5th house. It's ruling your 5th house. So no matter what house you're in, you could have a sun sign in the 8th house. You can have a sun sign in the 10th house. It doesn't matter. You got to apply that. Absolutely. But for this live, it doesn't matter. For the 5th house, the way you create your wealth is by literally being an individual, creating and actually fighting for your, like being selfish, literally having to be stubborn, being fixated even on yourself. When you honor yourself, okay, Aries in the sun, when you honor yourself, when you create boundaries for yourself, the thing is, it's going to actually start to stabilize and sustain wealth for you, flat out. A wealth of love, a wealth of creativity, a wealth of passion that gets to flow through. You must follow your joy. That's the key to having a sun in the 5th house. And it's not necessarily an easily accepted thing in society, but you have to understand that you're not a part of the society, you're a part of the kingdom and you're the king. And so as you run the kingdom the way you wish, that within itself creates the society outside of you. Because this isn't the 3rd house. This isn't the 6th house. So it's not about serving other people, it's about serving yourself. So this is how you start to create wealth. It's actually about separating yourself from the family dynamic, which is the 4th house that comes prior. Separating yourself and fighting essentially for your individuality. And the way you do this is when you have to be very careful. The warning for you here is be very careful of waiting for acceptance and praise from other people. Because as long as you're doing this and realize, and you get stuck on the fact of you have to actually fight against the fact of other people praising you and rather you praising yourself. When you do that, when you follow your instinct, praise yourself, go towards your artistic endeavors. This Aries is when you start to actually create a tremendous amount of wealth. So you have to understand that this is going to make people hate you. Now, the beauty is with this is you don't need to worry about that because babies and how they respond to when people hate them is essentially to go ahead and do what they want to do next. So the key thing is you're going to realize with this, when you're in the process of creating wealth, people are going to start to hate you. And then just come back into the understanding of you're the most forgiving of the zodiacs. Why? Because you don't really have hate in your heart. It's just not a part of the wave. But when you find yourself having hate in your heart, this is when your wealth starts to suffer. When your heart chakra finds a way to get blocked off, you stop being as compassionate and gentle and sensitive as you are, this is when your wealth starts to get blocked. When you are in fear, this is when your wealth gets blocked. So the low level energy of this placement where your root chakra is blocked and root chakra gets blocked by fear. So the key thing is if you're afraid to follow your true heart instead of actually seeking the praise and approval from other people. So generally you won't do this unless you have some negative aspects like a sun squaring your Saturn. And this could still be very powerful, still be potent. But again, look back in the timestamps when the video is done and you'll see what the sun aspects look like. All right. So Taurus, thank you for hitting a thumbs up, by the way. I appreciate it. Taurus, thank you for hitting a thumbs up. I appreciate it. 2445. Okay, Taurus. So in the fourth house, the way you create your wealth, the way you create um, for your sun sign being a Taurus, again, it doesn't matter what house your Taurus sign is in. It does, but not for this video, because I can only, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're in this sacred reality, then you'll get your stuff based off your chart individually. But as a general rule, um, you do well when you are looking to create wealth to attain things in your home. So that actually is one of the most motivating things for you, Taurus. When you look to attract new items, luxurious items, and items of comfort. So they don't have to simply be luxurious. They usually, if not necessarily a name brand, because it doesn't have to be a name brand, it has to be comfortable. So it has to be a sofa that you really want, a couch. So this is the stuff that starts to motivate you to make the money. You're like, man, I really want that lazy boy couch so that when I do go to work and come home, I can put my feet up. You know, oh man, I really do want to get those new curtains. And this new curtain is just going to give me the privacy I need, privacy, fourth house, from my neighbors because of the neighborhood I live in. Or man, I really want that diffuser. So this is actually your wealth is actually created and you're motivated most by getting things for your home or getting things for your pet. So if when you have a pet, if you get motivated by, I want to get my cat this new litter, this new kitty litter. I want to get my cat this new brush so that, you know, I can groom the cat. You know, I don't have the money to do a grooming service, and I want my cat to have the best, to be the most comfortable. So boom, these are the things that starts to create and generate wealth for you. Now, again, of course, you have to look at what house your particular Taurus sign is in, but ultimately, these are the things that starts to do it. Things for the home, things that help you meditate, things that help you feel safe in your own retreat. All of these things, your own retreat. Okay, food. When it comes to, you want to be able to eat foods that again make your belly feel happy and warm. These things, you start finding ways to make money. Because at this point, what happens? Your retreat, your privacy, your actual home environment, it becomes the kingdom for you. It becomes your base foundation. And so that within itself is motivating for everything else. All the other assets we talked about, Sun, Mars, Mercury, earlier, that will be in the timestamps. This is the stuff that starts to serve that. Okay? All right, Taurus. Thank you. I appreciate you hitting the likes and the thumbs up. 2721. Okay, Gemini. What's up, Gemini? So you come in the third house. So Gemini sons, I've met some Gemini sons, I've dated Gemini sons, and I tell you, like, these people are genius. Like, they're some of the most genius people. I've worked with Gemini sons, co-workers. These people are marketing masters. And when you look and you see that the sun rules the third house, it makes total sense. Why? Because they understand how to manipulate the people around them. They understand exactly what people are thinking. They understand exactly what people want. Mostly what they're thinking and how they can offer a skill that they have or a mindset that they have, ideas that they have, in exchange for you to go ahead and give them what they need. So this is a Hermes energy, right? Hermes, the god, the messenger of the gods, right? And so the thing is, Hermes in this third house, very closely linked to it, is about, okay, Hades doesn't want to talk to Zeus right now. And Zeus doesn't want to talk to Poseidon. But Hermes, or this Gemini sun, is the messenger of the gods. So Hermes knows what all of them are thinking and knows how, and is shiftable as immutable air enough to be like, okay, boom, here's what I'm going to give Hades. Hades needs, seeds to plant his gems. He needs dirt to plant his gems beneath the surface. Okay, great. Zeus, what do you need? Oh, okay. Zeus, you need women? Ah, Poseidon has women. Poseidon, what do you need? Oh, okay. You need a new water pump to cleanse out the ocean? Great. I know who has that. I know who can deliver that. And so this is Gemini in the third house of their sun sign. This is how they create wealth. They literally have to take time and think, what do I have for my skills? What do I have for my own abilities? And when I say skills, things I've learned and sharpened and information that I've collected. You can sell information, Gemini, right? And this is how you manipulate others through the information that you sell, right? Like, this is your superpower. And then when you give somebody else that, they give this person that, they give this person that. These are always like 3-way, 5-way, 6-way deals. And the thing is, because Scorpio is your quincunx, you often benefit by basically keeping what the other people need private to yourself. Now, the other thing is, this is how you control other people and manipulate other people. So with the quincunx aspects, you have to also understand like you're always going to be checked later on the other side with the quincunx to Capricorn with integrity. So if you do these things out of integrity, likely your wealth will be snatched and taken away from you. 3008. Okay. So now we move into Gemini. That's you. Thank you, Gemini, for hitting that thumbs up and the likes button. I appreciate you. Cancer, here we go. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button. Here's how you create and generate wealth, okay, as a part of your second house. So really, this kind of like a little flip-flop of Taurus, but when I say like it's about creating comforts in your home, but for you, it's actually about what generates and motivates you the most is about constructing. Being able to build up a home from scratch, being able to create a family from scratch, meaning you are putting your sexual energy into a woman or a man, depending on who you are, and literally creating a baby, right? These are one of the things that motivates the hell out of you. And if not, when you do have children, you're going to find that you're going to just magically want more money. You're going to need more money at the most basic of levels. And so you're going to get more money. So again, aspects, everything, you check the timestamps. You know, you can get a one-on-one reading, or you can go ahead and you can look at our Sacred Innovator Reality, and we'll walk you through this and get your chart like that, right? Today is the last day for the early bird. But ultimately, the other way you create wealth, Cancer, is about retaining your semen, especially if you're a male, retaining your semen. And if you're a female, protecting your body, protecting your temple, and not letting a male who is not stubborn and worthy enough of your body. Literally, if you meet a male, if you're a woman and you meet a male who's not worthy enough of your body, you can't let them enter your temple and drop their seeds in you, because you're very fertile, Cancer, especially with the sun ruling your second house. You're fertile. So what will happen is this will basically be like a scoundrel or a greedy person finding and using their sexual energy to impregnate you, because they know you are noble. They know that you are somebody who can, if they can have sex with you, you can then have their heart, or they can have your heart. And once they have your heart, they become a part of the kingdom. So you have to watch out for these people, because you will naturally attract people who are deceptive, who want and who are greedy, who use their hedonism, who use the ability to pleasure. And so you have to understand as well that you project that energy out sometimes, because you do want assets and resources, especially for the home, for the family. So you have to be careful that you don't attract it. Basically, by meditating and understanding, like, what are your true needs, what are your true wants, what are your absolutes, and what are you not willing to shift and change for, because it's a fixed energy. All right, Cancer. So this is one of the major things. This has a lot to do with sexual energy, and like I said, real estate, buying land, being able to set up a family and a clan. These are the things that motivate you. Being able to set up a clan, a tribe, being the head of the household. These things really make you horny. They turn you on, and they actually start to create wealth for you. All right. 3325. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the like button. I appreciate you. So we have Leo, first house. What are the things that creates wealth for you? All right, hit the thumbs up and the like button early. I appreciate you. Remember, today is the last day for the early bird, so don't miss out on that. Okay, it is the last day. As long as your application's in, you will get the early bird price, even though we start 1 month from now. 1 month from today, we start. So, and we'll dig into your chart in particular and individually with these same aspects. All right, so Leo, what you got going on for you in the first house? Leo, the way you create wealth and affluence is basically by being selfish, if I'm being honest. And the thing is, like, most people, you have to be innocent with your selfishness. Okay, this is one of the key things, because you do attract a lot of hate naturally, because you're the one who is here with a life and a karmic punishment to serve yourself. And usually a lot of time this happens because you served everybody else in past lives. So as a part of that, you reincarnated as a Leo to separate from the family conditionings, to separate from the clan, to separate from the clique, to separate from the farm, the head of the households, and essentially become the king of your own kingdom. So this is why you generate the hate, but you must understand that the hate is never personal. It's only because you're reminding other people that they are not being selfish enough. They're not that they're literally being arrogant by being um so stubborn in the way they dish envy towards you. So Leo, the way you create the wealth is actually by allowing those more negative frequencies to fuel you. And so you'll always be at war. You have to understand that, Leo. Your wealth is created through overcoming the wars and and actually, reaching victory. When you win a battle, wealth lands in your pocket. Okay, because what happens when a kingdom wins a battle, for example, right? Because the sun sign is the kingdom. What happens when the king they acquire the land of other people, they acquire the riches of the other people, they take their gold, right? They even take their women to now have and impregnate within their kingdom, right? Because again, first house is what is your seed. So this is another one. This another one to do with sexual energy as well. So now, separate from like physical sex, this seed of yours is actually more about your passions, your art, what you want to create in the world. Okay, so check the Man Impregnates Women series that I did with Eileen the Mexican Bruja. It's on the channel. I think we did it 2 weeks ago. And it's going to say Man Impregnates Woman, okay, on my channel. That's how you'll better understand. You'll have a forecast for yourself, Leo, to get more in tune with that. But when you look at the kingdom and you look at the first house, it is literally about cultivating from the Akasha or the unknown spaces from your dreams, cultivating an image, a persona, a concept of yourself, and then being fixed and stubborn and literally fixated on that, and also not feeling guilty for it, doing it with innocence. That's the key. The key for you to create wealth is to be innocent, even amongst the people who envy you. That's what you need, Leo. And again, aspects, all that stuff, it really matters. Okay, 3720. Okay, Virgo. So here's how you create wealth, affluence. It's about serving. I mean, everybody knows that, right? Like, but whether you notice or not, it's about serving with compassion. And so this is the part that's hard for you sometimes, Virgo, because you can get in your mind, but the kingdom is requiring for you to actually create wealth to accept that there is a God. When you accept that there is a God, Virgo, then you are able to actually be blessed. And the thing is, you're not blessed by people. You're blessed by God. So as long as you are serving with compassion and being sensitive to the people in your environment, this is probably one of the hardest things in a sense for you to do. But you're a psycho-emotional symbol, Virgo, meaning your parental influence has a tremendous subconscious programming on your karmic duty, your karmic path. So Virgo, the key with this is check in with your parents and what is the influence that they had on your subconscious. What's going on, dude? Check in with the influence they have on your subconscious. Check in with how they have influenced your dreams. And are you pursuing their dreams, the dreams of every one of your ancestors, or your own? And it's actually not about your own. It's more about taking the time away to isolate and meditate. When you do this, you start understanding and discovering what is the wealth waiting for you. Virgo, this is one of the main keys. I know it's not necessarily what you want to hear. But the thing is, with the sun sign in Virgo, it's not about working aimlessly. It's actually about working on your body. Taking care of your body, allowing yourself to be sensitive to your body. Because one of your karmic missions of why you reincarnated, as well as your karmic punishments, is that you are here to support your own physical body. That within itself is the vessel. That's the temple. So as you work on your body and actually treat it well, treat it kindly, treat it gently, treat it with compassion, be very sensitive to your physical needs on your body. The irony is wealth starts to come in. Why? Because for you, it is the portal to the Akashic or to the ether space where you create everything from, when you manifest from, right? So these are one of the key things for you, Virgo. All right, so thank you for hitting the likes and the thumbs up button. Libra, here we go. We got 11th house, 39, 58. All right, here we go. So Libra, contrary to popular belief, people would actually say that you are somebody who doesn't do well because you're debilitated in the sun. And the reality is not for wealth. For wealth, it's a very positive one. Why? Because the sun rules your 11th house. Like, this is the wealthiest house. There's not a wealthier house than the 11th house. It's where everybody is supporting you. Everybody is giving to you. Everybody is in their group thought, brainstorming for how you win. If you ever met a Libra, you'll realize that they actually always have people buy things for them, or they always are somehow, some way using their relationships, and they're just sharing. The question is, I can't tell you what they're sharing because it matters what your Venus placement is. So you have to check your Venus placement to see what are you sharing with other people, with the sun ruling your 11th house. That's going to be one of the key indicators that'll help you actually work it out. Now, the beautiful thing is you have to, in this place, listen. How you create wealth is listen to the ideas of everybody around you, groups that you actually think that you wouldn't enjoy. So if you're a chef and you work in a group, a culinary group or culinary institute, you have to then listen to people who are of an astrology sect, an astrology clan. And they may seem like they are completely and inappropriately not connected, but it's not true. When you listen to astrology clan, you might just be like, oh, wait, I could become a better chef back in the Culinary Institute if I look at my Venus placement to understand what kind of foods I value. Oh, my Venus is in Pisces. Oh, so my particular hope and dream is actually related to the fish industry, seafood industry. So I'm here to make gourmet and beautifully aesthetic seafood platters. But by not listening to everything, especially that God is telling you to listen to, because the 11th house is where the house that communicates with God most easily. And it happens, so your wealth is created for you, Libra, when you actually separate from the masses. And then you step back into the masses. And then you share God's idea. You just sprinkle a little bit of this, a little bit of that, in different groups. And then what happens, they exchange and they tell you something back. And then you go back into your privacy. And then God tells you this in return. And then you go back over there. And so it's about really honoring your one-on-one relationships. You also create wealth through therapy. Okay, so if I take this a different direction, you create wealth through therapy just by being because you're one of the best listeners. And the thing is, the 11th house, it only obtains affluence and wealth when it listens. So Libra, the fact that you are easily able to listen, along with this trining house of the Aquarius, you're one of the people that easily creates valuable forms of luxury. You live one of the most luxurious lives. Okay. Now, the thing is, your pitfall is to go for only luxury. That's going to be how you fail. All right. You'll likely get the luxury items. You will get them because you are a Rajasic sign, meaning you go for your desires, your pleasures. But they likely won't be sustainable unless they were God's idea. When God tells you to go do something and then you do that, it's not going to be what you like up front. It's not going to give you your desire that you think you want, but it'll show you your desire that you truly want. And that's the hardest part about you being debilitated in the sun. But ultimately, that's how you obtain your true wealth. All right, Libra. Thank you for hitting the likes and the thumbs up button. Libra, we're going to go ahead and give you this reminder that we're at this early bird before we move to Scorpio. right, you see right here, last day to register for the early bird. Even if you don't, you have to register. As long as you register today, you will get the early bird fees. We'd start 1 month from today, March 23rd. So you don't have to pay anything. You just need to register at the barest of minimums. Today is the last day. February 23rd is the last day. Check my Instagram, check my IG, my YouTube, and you'll see the rest of the details. Now let's move into Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio. So you have your wealth, Scorpio. If you're a Scorpio sun, especially, it's very karmic. Okay. When I mean karmic, I mean that you literally likely won't create wealth unless you are sharing power with other powerful dignitaries, politicians, people with affluence, people with power. You will never make wealth with someone less than you. You cannot be around meager people, Scorpio. But in order to create your wealth, you have to understand that your natural insecurities, okay, and cravings for validation, external from yourself, as a Scorpio sun specifically, not other placements, is usually met by surrounding yourself with meager people. And that's the hardest thing for you to understand and also accept, that you like to be around people that you're more powerful than. And that doesn't work. You have to actually merge with people who are more powerful than you. And it's the last thing you want to do. But in order for you to create true wealth, you have to put yourself around people who are wealthier. And you have to understand, what is that wealth for you? So if you want a wealth of intimacy, you have to literally put yourself in groups that are uncomfortable but intimate, right? If you want a wealth of money, you have to put yourself in rooms with people who have more money than you, but also make you uncomfortable. If you want to have a wealth of art supplies, you must be around artists who are better than you, at least that you perceive are better than you. Whether they actually are better than you or not, that's a different story. But if you perceive that this artist is better than me, you need to merge with that person. That's how you start creating wealth. So the thing is, the most uncomfortable thing to do, and like I said, your wealth is often limited, and you often find yourself in disempowered states because you surround yourself with meager people just because you're more powerful than them. And what happens in these lower level states, what you do is you try to either give them money where they think they need money, or they are somebody who's projecting a low sense of self-worth in the realms of money, like, oh, I don't have money, I have this lack mindset. You will likely put yourself in a position where you have power over them because you may have more resources and assets than them, and you're sharing it with them. You have power over them, but it will never give you more wealth. That's the problem. You have to do the literal exact opposite. Put yourself around the person who is wealthier in the area, whether love, creativity, life, real estate, a wealth of real estate, a wealth of love, a wealth of clothes. So, if it's real estate, you have to surround yourself with somebody who makes you uncomfortable in the real estate department, where they have more properties than you. You may have one property, you may have two properties, but you have to put somebody to have more properties. And then not only that, but you have to understand the psychological motivations that they have, as well as the psychological assets that you have to create and make them more powerful. So not only do you have to get away from meager people who you prefer to be around when you're in your low energy, you have to be around more powerful people and give them more power. And as you do that, you start to attain more wealth as well. But it's very scary for you. It's a tremendous fear. All right, Scorpio, thank you for being here on that. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Join our 8-week reality, and we'll walk you through that. Point blank period, 4920. Dang, 4920. Okay, we're moving to Sagittarius. All right, Sagittarius, here's how you create wealth and affluence. A wealth of learning, a wealth of spiritual practices, a wealth of spiritual knowledge. Okay, a wealth of individuality, a wealth of financial assets, because you're one of the people where you are officially financially free. So you in the 9th house is very kin to yourself, right? Sagittarius sun are so hated as fire signs, but also as themselves. The question is why? And the answer is because you're an individual. The ninth house is the house of individuality. Sagittarius is a sign of individuality. In a lot of ways, more than others, because you are most connected by default to God, to your intuition more specifically. I don't actually want to say God because you're not necessarily most connected to God. You have the potential, but that's your squaring aspect to Pisces. You have the potential to be the most connected to God, but you square. So you often are cynical around concepts of God, if not fully devout to a God. And that's just something that you as an individual, you got to figure that out. But when he looks at your sun and wealth, the things that create wealth for you is literally following your intuition and not listening to your logic. So your wealth is literally created when you fall into the spaces of being illogical. So ironically, most people will say like sun Mercury combustion is bad. But if you're in the spiritual realms and spiritual spaces, then one of the magic is this for you is deliciously great. This is one of the best things you could do or have, because it naturally takes your logic and it fries it. Now, it depends on how close your combustion is, but it takes your logic and it fries it. And so what does that do? It allows you to be more connected to source, to spirit, and to your intuition. So with the ninth house, the house of intuition, so your wealth is created by following your intuition, even and especially when it's scary. Your intuition will tell you once and quietly, I want you to get on the plane and travel to Indonesia. And you're going to look at your bank account and you're going to be like, first it'll say, I want you to get on a plane, travel to Indonesia and go live in Bali. And you're going to be like, wow, that feels so good. And then 15 seconds later, you'll tell somebody, oh man, I had this intuitive spark to go ahead and go to Bali. I'm going to move there, I'm going to pack it up and just be a vagabond. And then logic, your friend, your social peers will go, oh, that's not smart, bro. You just told me you have $300 in your bank account. How are you going to get there? And then once and more people you start listening to, you fall. You fall from the grace of that intuition. And then you stop trusting that intuition. And then the logic kicks in, but you're not a logical sign. And once that happens, you actually block your wealth. Now, let's say you follow that intuition, you will then magically find $900 just lands in your bank account. And from a source that likely was something you didn't expect. Your wealth actually is created by faith. Faith in the intuitive hunch that you had. That's it. Your wealth is created by understanding what are the boundaries in my life? What are the boundaries around my individuality? And then following your intuition of when it tells you how to expand yourself outside and beyond that boundary. That's when your wealth is created. All right. The pitfalls is your logic. You try to get logical, you fall. Okay, 5322. Thank you for hitting the likes and the thumbs up button. All right, Capricorn, here we go. Thank you for hitting the likes and the thumbs up button. Remember, the early bird is here, last day today. Okay. So Capricorn, you have one of those inverse relationships back with Scorpio, right? Your wealth, your primary wealth is created through investments, stock market, investments. Quincunx relationship for you to Leo, so scary for you because it's not a part of a methodical practice and you can't really predict it all, but when you take a risk, okay? When you take a risk. Now, especially because again, the sun is Leo by nature, okay? Now, separate from that, how you create wealth and abundance, Capricorn, is literally by actually helping. I want to say the meager. My intuition is saying the meager. Helping the lowlifes. Supporting the underworld. This Capricorn Suns, you are one of the best people to work in the occult, but you're one of the people who actually stares away from it the most. And a lot of that is because you have to understand who has disempowered you. And basically the who will be identified and determined by your Saturn placement. So this one's a little more complex where my intuition is leading, but you need to look at where's my Saturn so you understand what are you here to serve? What low life are you here to serve? These are people, these are bums in the street. These are people of the low class, okay? When you help them construct and build a way out of the underworld, you start finding wealth. You start becoming more affluent. It's probably one of the last things you want to do by nature because you naturally just want to work, work, work. And again, there's another way you could do this where, you know, on the superficial side, you will go and choose a career and a path that is basically destined to take you step by step, brick by brick towards wealth. And that will happen, okay? But understand that these are the same Capricorns who are not truly wealthy when they take that materialistic path, because the 8th house, the sun ruling your 8th house, is actually about the wealth that you can't see, the wealth beneath the surface. So beneath the surface of this Wall Street guy, you know, making billions on Bitcoin and X, Y, and Z, that's one way you can get wealth. I'm not going to lie to you. You will get the financial wealth that way. You're going to be a master at it. You're going to be a genius at it. You're going to be able to do the pattern recognition. You're going to get very deep into the psychology of the market. And you're going to understand, boom, this is what I need to do. This is how I need to do it. Now, that's one way. The other way, like I said, is going through in the occult. You have the ability to see and listen to what can't be seen, to the subtle energies in the world, the subtle energies in your physical environment and the physical environment of the globe itself. Okay, you have that ability. You're one of the masters at this. So again, you know, for you, it's more going to be about what's your Saturn placement telling you. Okay, because if it's back, you know, you had a Saturn in Leo, right? Like back to the stock market, no doubt. If you had a Saturn in Leo, no doubt you're in the stock market. No doubt you're taking major, marvelous risk, okay? And you're following your heart, and it's bringing you a lot of joy. It's probably going to be good for you, right? But that same house can be God. That same Saturn Leo could be God. So again, it doesn't just mad complex. Okay, I'm being honest. I can't even get too deep into that because it'll go forever without talking to somebody. But you join the sacred reality. You know, this again, last day for the early bird. We start March 23rd. Today is the last day for the early bird. It'll make sense for you. All right, here we go, Cap. Thank you for hitting the likes and the thumbs up button. I appreciate you, Aquarius. Thank you for being here. 5743, 5743. Okay, Aquarius, 7th house. Your wealth is created with other people. Like, it's one of the last things you feel like you might want to do. You have lofty ideals by default. Yet, you don't like to have to do anything superficial. So it's not very comfortable for you to create wealth in a way, because you're in a lot of ways trying to surrender that wealth. You're trying to give that wealth away. So irony is one of the things that keeps you wealthy is by staying connected to other people and giving away your titles, giving away your status as the CEO of Pepsi, as, you know, the SEOO of Nike. Like when you give that away, you take that wealth and then you go ahead and create through your lofty ideals that essentially God has informed you to, and disseminate those ideals to the people. So this is you, Aquarius, as the water bearer. When you find ways to create harmony and put fires out, fires that have gone outside the spaces and realms of harmony, that's when you discover it. Now, Uranus is one of the bonuses on this. And so when you look at your Uranus placement, even more so, you'll understand what is mostly unique for you, that your sky consciousness, your high mind has told you and informed you will create wealth for you in a way that is harmonious to yourself and to the other person. So this is one of the ways that you create lasting wealth. If you could find a craft and a job to serve the kingdom where you don't lose in this particular interaction of whatever you're working with. Because a lot of times what'll happen, you'll be in situations where everybody else wins and you lose. And again, you might make wealth that way, but you're not happy in the process. It's a self-sacrifice. So that's one of the dangers. But how you do it, you look at your Saturn to understand who are the low life people that I'm here to serve. And then you look at Uranus and understand, what is my high mind, my high consciousness trying to tell me to serve? And both of those two placements will matter. And then that's how they will serve essentially the kingdom. And then, like I said, what's beautiful about this is you'll always have people to sell stuff to. And you are one of a master salesman, because the seventh house is the marketplace. If you go back to the timestamp earlier, I think the timestamp was at 13:38, 13 minutes and 38 seconds was the timestamp for this. When you go back to that, you'll understand, okay, boom, what's the seventh house about in the marketplace? So the seventh house right here, you are one of the master salesmen, whether you know it or not, because you're naturally in the marketplace, whether you know it or not. People will just want to buy from you, people want to support from you, want to support you. But especially when you're doing it in integrity. And so this is the downfall for your wealth. This is how your wealth gets snatched away, when you do business out of integrity. This is the major thing, especially as the seventh house / Libra is exalted in Saturn. When you do things out of integrity, you will have a tremendous and constant amount of integral challenges. You have to understand that your wealth is actually not created in this lifetime. As an Aquarius sun, your karmic punishment was to be a royal, a king from past lives, a queen from past lives, somebody of important status, somebody, one of the most high-level officials, diplomats, politicians to ever exist in past lives. A king, a queen, a royal, a noble. This was you in your past life. So your karmic punishment, Aquarius, is to essentially surrender that title from those past lives and those karmic incarnations, and essentially give that wealth, those titles, and all of it away. Now, again, until you look at your Saturn and your Uranus, I can't really inform you too much deeper unless you start commenting in the chat. But for the most part, Aquarius, that's how you create your wealth, and those are your downfalls as well. So thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button, Aquarius. I do appreciate you. I'm officially at 101.48. 52. Okay. What's up, Pisces? How are you doing? You're the last one on creating wealth, astrology for success, creating affluence. And the major thing for you is healing. You need two things. One, you need to focus on healing your own body from past life karmas and damage that you've done to it. So one of the last things you might do, one of the things you might be most lazy on, is to actually work out and have a ritual routine that makes sure you take care of your body and the vessel. That's step one. One of the last things you might want to do, but it's one of the things you need to do the most. Because in order for you to create wealth and affluence, you actually mostly just need to take care of your physical body. You also need to take care of your mind, because you within yourself, within your own inner kingdom, are connected to the Akashic Ocean. You're connected to the ether. You're connected to the infinite space. You're connected to the dream space of everyone in the world, and from other alternate dimensions and realities. You're connected to all of that. And that's a lot of pressure for a human body to sustain. So in order to create wealth for you, actually, you need to focus on making sure you take care of your physical body and heal it consistently. You have to do a lot of Reiki, a lot of healing, a lot of Qigong, a lot of Tai Chi. You could check out our membership, or again, you can look at this last day to register for this Sacred Innovator reality, right? It's in the comments, it's pinned up top. So how do I get back to this? Hold up, give me back. Okay, Pisces. So that's one of the major things. Now, second, healing. Your massive wealth and abundance comes when you start focusing on healing. Okay, when you're healing other people, when you're being of service to other people, or when you're working as a veterinarian, okay, you're working in animal shelters, nonprofits that are keeping animals safe and healthy and healed, taking care of their wounds. This is one of the major things. When you're doing surgery, esoteric surgery, okay, things like angelic Reiki, things like past life healings, things like Akashic record reading. This is another one for you, Pisces. You're naturally connected to it, and people in the physical world need that healing from the spiritual realms. So you're one of the ones who can actually create that transmission for them. So this is one of the major ways that you actually create wealth. Your major downfall to that wealth is when you don't take care of your own physical body as well as your psycho-emotional health. Okay, so the thing is, when you do this healing, you take on the emotions and you fall into that martyr, and it's not really an intentional thing. It happens because you really care. So when you basically step back and kind of humble how much you care, ironically and awkwardly, when you humble how much you care and you stay modest about it, it actually puts you in a position where you could be honest and very practical and analytical on, okay, look, if I want to sustain this healing work, here's what I need to do. I need to start putting my feet in the dirt. I need to start grounding my mind before I do a healing session through meditation. I need to start wearing physical things like, I don't know, an obsidian or a hematite, whatever, tiger's eye. I need to start grounding things, red jasper, right? And they start wearing these things on my physical body when I do my healing sessions so that I don't get lost in the ether. I don't get lost in their spiritual traumas. Okay? And that's how you essentially create wealth. Take care of your physical body and find yourself focusing on a healing industry. No matter what the healing industry, a surgeon, a doctor, spiritual healing, one of the tremendous things that definitely works for you. All right. And then I want to say thank you. Definitely enjoy this next little last step. Check your timestamps. They're going to all be there in the chat. This is the last day for the early bird. All right. For the Sacred Innovator reality. So don't make sure you miss that. And then boom. I'll see you all soon. I hope you enjoyed that. Tap in.